Hi, this is the Public Safety Building Committee meeting for December 4th, 2017. It's 10:10. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Just a reminder that the meeting is being audio and videotaped for future showing on Raleigh Community Television, so be aware. First item on the agenda is to discuss the bid results and make recommendations for the contract award.
So in your packet, there is a letter from Neil Joyce, and it was sent out to the committee with his recommendation after reviewing the low bid, the three low bidders.
You want me to read that? Would it be beneficial for the... All right, so the letter is to the Police Fire Station Building Committee, Town of Raleigh. Attention Debbie Egan, Town Administrator. Read the Raleigh Police Fire Headquarters Recommendation Award. And it's from Neil Joyce, our Senior Project Manager. Dear Ms. Egan, as authorized by the Town of Raleigh, CMS and that's the name of the company that Neil works for, has completed our review of the contractor files made available at DCAM, Department of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance, for Castagna Construction, as well as the next two lowest bidders. Castagna's file presents the firm as financially stable, with multiple public safety projects, both completed work and work in progress, to their credit, as well as multiple other public projects of similar size and complexity. Castagna maintains current DCAM certification in general building construction, with single project and aggregate work limits exceeding those required for the Raleigh Police Fire Headquarters project. Castagna's public safety projects include completion of the Salisbury Police Station in 2016, Duxbury Police Station in 2013, Arlington Fire Station in 2011, all of which were completed with passing evaluations from each project's awarding authority. Castagna's current work in progress includes Littleton Fire Headquarters and Westwood Fire Headquarters. It is further noted that Castagna has worked with the Corral Group on two of the above-noted projects, successfully completing the Duxbury Police Fire Headquarters and currently working toward completion of the Littleton Fire Headquarters. The Corral Group indicates satisfactory performance on both projects from Castagna Construction. CMS reviewed the bid and accompanying documents and have determined that Castagna's bid to be responsive to the requirements of the request for bids. Included in the project specifications, references contacted from Castagna's past Salisbury and current Westford projects have indicated satisfactory performance and their willingness to work with Castagna on future projects. In conclusion, this letter serves as confirmation of our recommendation to award the contract for general contractor services in conjunction with the Raleigh Police Fire Headquarters project to Castagna Construction of Newburyport, Mass. Should you have additional questions, please contact our office. Sincerely, Neil Joyce, Senior Project Manager for the Construction Monitoring Service, Inc.
So the contract award is in the tally sheet from Neil that everybody should have a copy of. It's the general.
Single page.
Yeah, there is a
Single
copy
page.
of the subs, but just for your reference.
So just a quick review, Castagna Construction had a bid amount of $7,977,000. M. O'Connor had a bid of $8,845,277. J&J Contracting had a bid of $9,017,000. Seaver Construction had a bid of $9,899,971. Dilius Brothers Construction had a bid for $10,138,800, and GWC Corporation had a bid of $10,190,123. So Castagna is obviously the lowest bid. Anybody want to make any comments or anything to say? Neil?
No, other than what was in our cover letter, everything checked out fine with Castagna. The references were in order. I would note, just for the record, that the total value with alternates, if the committee so chooses, will be the official contract value for whatever alternates are selected. And I think, given the current bidding environment, very, very pleased overall with the numbers that were received. I'm sure that's shared by the committee.
Now, Neil, this is the bid of 7977. Does that include that's plus the alternates, right, of
The alternates,
99,000,
the alternates would
35,000?
be in addition to that. So they sum over in the fourth column to the
Right,
right.
right. So that,
8,186,000.
okay, with alternates, it's 8,186,000.
If the committee so chooses to select all of the alternates, that would be the contract value, yes.
Okay. Do we need to vote on the alternates, Debbie? Should we?
Well, I think that we want to look at the budget and make sure that we can
Sure.
confirm that we feel comfortable adding in either all alternates or some alternates. And so CMS has prepared an updated budget sheet.
So we re-scripted the budget. Obviously, our fee, Greg's fee did not change. Commissioning services have not been considered as of yet. We penned in the construction budget with the assumption that the committee would take all of the alternates. That number at 8,186,000, it's sort of right in the middle of the page. And then we adjusted the contingency to reflect the underbid amount to maintain the construction total budget at 9,377,803. That was the number that you had previously seen. And then project expenses all stayed the same. Furnishings and equipment stayed the same, and the project development contingency stayed the same. So the overall budget remains 11,700,000.
Okay. So we can afford, we have money for all three alternates.
Yes.
Does that meet the approval of everyone involved?
Yes.
So I'll,
Would it be appropriate to make a motion to?
I was gonna say, I'll take a motion to adopt all three alternates to be included in the awarding of the bid.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous? Okay, so that puts the bid at 8,186,000.
I'd also like to make the motion based upon Neil's company's, CMS's research on Castagna Construction Corporation to award Castagna Construction the bid for the project.
Okay, now this is a recommendation, right? Because the Board of
Yes.
Selectmen technically, so
Yes.
to be a
Oh, I'm sorry.
recommend.
Recommend, right, to recommend to the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
With regard to the award, and I can send this to Debbie, there's a form in the documents, it's a notice of award form. It's toward the end of the general documents. That needs to be emailed to Castagna, and basically what it says is, the Board of Selectmen has, you've been awarded the contract for the bid, for the amount, and the amount would be the 8,186,000, including all the other. And that just gets the machinery running for Castagna. In order for them to get their bonding and their insurance, they need the notice, so.
Well, after the selectmen vote tonight,
Mhm.
I can email that out. I presume their email is in the bid packet,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure we can get it.
We
or you can give
yeah,
it to
we
me.
have a-
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, anything else on the bid contract or the award? Or?
Just a couple of things. Following that notice of award, I want them to expedite their contract. They have to really jump on that, and I've spoken to Castagna about this in anticipation of what happens today. We need to get them, they need to apply for a building permit before the first of the year.
Right.
Because if we don't, the building code is going to change, and that, we're gonna be back to the drawing board on a bunch of stuff if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, in fact, I've had a discussion with the building inspector, and he said the same thing. Make sure that they come in before December 31st to get the building permit, because we don't want to get involved in the new building code.
Right.
For sure.
Right. It's mostly structural things that have changed.
Right.
But that's,
Yeah, it's not going to affect the project. It's more cost than it is anything else. It's just that the state keeps increasing the requirements every time you turn around, so. hard to keep up. Okay. Project permits, construction start date, and insurance.
In the packet, so we have the stormwater and the ZBA. We don't have the septic. The health department has been working with the engineer at Places Associates, John Boardman, I think is his name, and Bill Murray. They have some things on the Presby system that wanted some clarification on, and so that should be finished, I would say, this week, hopefully. And then one thing on the stormwater permit, the last, second to last page in the packet, there was some discussion between the Conservation Commission and Places Associates on work during, that would take place between November 1st and March 15th. So there was some clarification that Bill wanted to get on that, and you see a response from the Conservation Commission.
Okay, one of the things on that, no work between November 1st and March 15th of each year.
Unless given prior approval.
I think we need to go to the Conservation Commission and request a waiver on that.
Well, it is provided unless given prior approval, so we just need to make that request.
That's what I mean.
So
we
the
need- but we need-
contractor, will
I was
do it.
gonna say, should that request come
Yeah.
from the contractor, or should it come from,
Well,
the
because
owner,
it's
if you will.
controlled construction, I think
okay,
they have to abide by the permit, and one of the permit requirements is that that if they do want to work, they have to get the permission from the Conservation Commission in the form of a brief description of the proposed activities and their anticipated sequence.
So from the contractor.
My interpretation is because they're responsible for the permit under the controlled
that's
construction.
fine.
And I think the reason we've talked about before was this committee kind of made a commitment that we would construct the road or the driveway that's gonna go from the entrance of Aris Park over to the playground area would be constructed in the beginning of the project. Part of that includes the stormwater, one of the stormwater management pits there. And we made the commitment that we would complete that by April 1st, so that when the baseball season starts, that they would have access to the fields as well as the playground area during the, and just keeping in mind that the construction area will be fenced off, so it should not cause a conflict, but we just want to make sure that that road is open for use during this next spring's baseball season. Otherwise, we're going to have a major problem out there. And then the other thing is, if we can, is to delay construction of the larger stormwater pit in the field area, with the idea that because we're going to be reducing parking by quite a bit, that they could, assuming it's not a super muddy spring, they could use that area as a parking area during that one season, just to facilitate the parking out there, because next spring it will be quite tight for parking. I don't think it should be a big problem getting that permit. It's just that they want to, Brent from the Conservation will be just making sure that, and as we discussed too, is that the area, excuse me for my voice, but the area is all sand, and as we went out there and dug the holes, it's all sand. I don't anticipate any flooding issues or any problems. And especially because we're not going to have any additional roofs really up before spring, that it's going to create a runoff problem in terms of stormwater until, later on in the project when we start having a problem.
Unless
Because
we
we
have
can
a
start.
hurricane come through or something, yes.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, I think, it's all slopes downhill. It's not as a construction site, there's no big hills or anything for huge runoffs. And with the soil types out there, that And it should sink in real quick for the most part, although we want to be prepared. But I think that smaller pit, if we can get that built right away, that should, I would think that would suffice for, and allow us to use the rest of it for parking. So hopefully we can work that out.
You're okay with that, or I
Yeah.
wasn't sure? Like, that was just my opinion, that it would be the contractor, but
Okay, yeah, no,
if you think I should, then
No,
I'll.
I think that's fine. I wanted to clarify that with you, because when we mentioned controlled construction, that would put the onus back on the design team, either Bill Murray or myself, to make the application.
Okay.
It's controlled by, we're the guys that control it. So, but if I have no problem with the contractor doing it, because he in fact is the one that's going to set his sequencing, so.
Especially if CONSCOM is gonna have specific questions about means and methods or sequencing.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
It should
Which
come
makes
from
sense.
the contractor.
That works
That's what I
fine.
was thinking. Okay.
It might be worth our while, Debbie, if we just give Brent a heads up that we're gonna be requesting that. The contractor will be requesting that, so he can expeditiously work on it, because we're gonna look to start right away on between the land clearing and that roadway. I assume they're gonna, whoever's doing the land clearing for them is gonna be working on that, as part of the initial project development, so.
Part of the permitting process and the application that was made by Bill, the Conservation Commission was alerted to the fact that this work would be happening during the winter.
Okay.
So it's not a surprise. to me.
Okay, yeah, I just want to give them a heads up so that when the contractor applies, it, conservation, they go, what is this, because there's so much information flowing back and forth that sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle.
Would it make sense to make that request to get onto their agenda in the
Yes.
early part of January? And we'll get the contractor
Yeah, in fact, if.
on board with that?
It might be worthwhile to mention if you're gonna email them, I don't know what legally we can do, but it might be worthwhile to mention to them that they need to make application to the Concom right away. So, because, yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of time for the hearing process, and I don't think they have to advertise or anything, it's strictly just, but they need enough time so Brent can put them on the agenda. No, you're right, that's a good point. Okay, so construction start date, any indication if, when we might, now just so the public is aware, if you go by the police station, they've already torn down the walkway between the temporary buildings and the permanent building. They've taken the skirts off the bottom, as well as I'm sure done other work. The police have moved out of that building altogether. And when I came by this morning, the chief advised us also that by Wednesday, those trailer buildings will be gone. And I know everybody's asking, when is the thing gonna start? Well, this will be the first indication that we're actually starting the project, so.
Under the contract, they have roughly a week from the time they receive a notice of award to present a contract. And upon signing that contract, they have a week to get started with construction. Now, getting started with construction, that could be putting.
Very broad umbrella.
Yeah, putting a trailer on the site.
Right.
So, best case scenario, they would technically start 2 weeks or so after the notice of award.
Okay.
Now, will the selectmen have to meet again to sign the contract?
Yes.
Right, that'll be the following week, I imagine, right, next, if they get us back the contract right away. If we could
Is it-
put,
December
Is it-
11th.
Are they required to meet to sign the contract, or can they sign the contract
I
with
would,
the authorization to award?
I would prefer that they vote and
Okay.
sign it in a public meeting.
That's fine.
Just because this is sometimes there's a vote to authorize to sign at another time, but I think because of this
Okay.
importance of the project. So we meeting anyway on the 11th, tonight, the 11th and the 18th.
so if they can get a contract back to us within this week that's acceptable,
If we could get it signed on the 11th, that would be great.
we could sign it on the 11th, and that would make everything move forward
Okay,
quickly.
all right.
It's all these
They're gonna
little,
really-
little issues that come up that cause delays and
It,
so.
it shouldn't be, you know, the contract is.
Is
in-
already in the bid
specs, so that
documents
Right, right.
that have already been reviewed by
gonna say the
the
only-
town's attorney.
So it shouldn't be a big issue. They
The
can
only
just-
wrinkle I can see is whether their bonding agent can turn over a bond that fast.
Yeah.
And it should be mostly a formality at this point.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Right.
we'll look at having a contract on the 11th. And with the notice of award, they can start putting their stuff together for a building permit, just get that application underway. And it doesn't have to even be complete, as long as it's applied for, so it's, you know, if there's stuff to follow.
Right,
I'm
right.
Assuming,
Okay.
I don't think the building inspector will mind.
And keep our fingers crossed for a good construction season as far as weather-wise.
Now,
It would be a big help.
I want to mention something that was, you know, as I said, because we're working with these guys on other projects, and, you know, there's some amount of banter that happens, you know, in that kind of situation. The super asked me, he said, whether the construction, whether it's anticipated that the construction schedule is going to shift. In other words, do they get the award and then break ground in March? And I said, I think that's very unlikely, given the fact that the police are living in a, you know, temporary quarters, and I don't think they want to do that for an extra 4 to 6 months under
No.
any circumstances. So the bottom line is, yes, you are going to be into winter construction. And he said, okay.
And right now, it's looking good. I mean, we didn't get a lot of early frost or early
Oh,
snow.
oh, I wish I had
any of
said
stuff.
that.
Well, I looked the last 2 years, we didn't get hit. I kind of keep an informal record of stuff, and it really wasn't until January, late January before we, so, but that always, Mother Nature is, always can change it, but, no, we want to get going right away. And if, you know, if the weather gets so bad we get held up, well, that's a different story, but I would think that they could do a lot of preparation out there, as well as, like I said, we want that road done before April 1st, so driveway out back, so
So,
it's important that, from our
So-
perspective.
So moving forward, what we would do is, once the contract is signed, and if we assume that it's going to be signed on December 11th, that week sometime, we'll schedule a pre-construction conference. And that will be a meeting of everybody at this table, as well as the contractor, all of his subcontractors, and anybody else that has a stake in the project. Building inspectors, welcome. I said, it's not mandatory, you know, for anybody really, but normally these are all the folks that attend. And
Okay.
we'll go through, well, Neil certainly has an agenda, I have one that we use, we'll put together a list of items, and one of them is, you know, the road has to go in first, you know, those sorts of things. That's a good time to bring up those
Okay, good.
those hot issues. You know,
Mhm.
Site safety, protocols, payment, you know, change orders, how all that stuff is going to work and what the procedures are going to
Okay.
be.
Very good. All right. Debbie, you're working with the insurance company on the insurance?
Yes, so we'll be purchasing the builder's risk policy directly through the town and under this project. It's not going to be a cost that's passed off to the contractor.
Right.
So I have some options, and I'm working with the town's insurance company
Okay.
on that.
Good.
And getting some feedback from Neil.
All right, so with that said, is there anything anybody else has? Chief, either of the chief, you guys are okay with anything you want to add at this point?
No, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just pleased we, moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were looking at, you know, you moved your furniture out, we were just hoping that everything would.
Right?
Otherwise, you were gonna be in there for a long time with the reduced facility, so.
I
It's
just
good
have a
news and
general
everything.
question as far as the subs. Is that something that the GC determines on the subs? 'Cause I
Yes.
see there's some like exceptions, restrictions
Yes.
in the columns, so the GC looks at these.
Has to take all that into consideration when he elects or elects not to carry a particular subcontractor.
Okay.
We can make available to you, I think you should have it, maybe, the bid form that identifies which of the contractors that Castagna carried in their bid. So
Yeah.
those will be the trades that we're working with.
Okay.
We do have there is a definite list
Okay.
of the selected contractors.
Okay.
I
So
will let
that's-
him know.
That's all signed, sealed.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Very good.
It was, they picked the
See
sub-bid
those.
contractors.
I don't have those.
That's on the bid form.
I think they got, I don't think, they took all the low guys, didn't they? Did they?
I think they did.
I think they
I don't
did.
think they took anybody else.
Okay. Anything else, chief?
No.
Chief? Joe?
No.
Debbie? I got nothing. You guys have,
Have one other
anything you guys
issue.
have?
Oh, yes.
In the interim, while we were evaluating the bids and whatnot, we did send out an RFP on the town's behalf for testing, construction testing services.
Okay,
We sent them to 3 respondents. We sent them to UTS, John Turner Consulting, and Briggs Engineering and Testing. The pricing that we received back is summarized on the page in front. It looks like
Which one's
that. The most economical decision, I guess, was, or recommendation is to proceed with UTS out of Stoneham, Mass. Their testing services have been used by CMS and I believe by Greg on multiple past projects.
That's true.
We've done a very thorough job of vetting their proposal against the others. And again, our experience with them is extensive, and we would certainly make every recommendation to proceed with UTS. The intent is that they'll sign a contract directly with the town. It can be nothing more than the town's signature on the bottom of their quotation for services. Or if there is another standard form of contract that the town uses, we can certainly incorporate that as well. So we would ask for the committee's recommendation to proceed with UTS for
okay, so
construction
if we
testing.
recommend, is that something the selectmen need to vote on tonight? Debbie? is that-
We could have that
Could we
voted
add-
on tonight, sure.
Could we add that to be voted on tonight, Joe, so it's all done once? So
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a motion to recommend UTS as the construction testing
I'll make
services.
that motion.
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I think everything's covered.
So,
With that, minutes for September 25th, which were included in your packet. Chief Scott Dumas wasn't present, so I'll take a motion. There's no recommendations for changes, so I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
As usual, nice job on the minutes. And I would just like to take this opportunity to thank the committee for a lot of work that's been put in to get to this point over the last year. And we go back even further, Chief Dumas came in the middle of this project, and we had the former chief, police chief, who initially worked with us on, and naturally, my senior moment, his name skips off my brain.
Chief Barker.
Chief Bob Barker, who we want to thank for, he was involved in the initial project. And are we gonna have some kind of a groundbreaking or something, a ceremony?
Oh, actually,
whatever suits the town's needs,
I
we
think
can
we
certainly
should have one.
organize. Best
In fact,
one.
the chief probably has a picture up there of the groundbreaking that took place when we put the initial building up there.
He's got the shovel, too.
Still got the shovel?
I have no idea. You guys have more information
If
than I
if you
do.
do, we could use it. It was funny, because I was on that building committee at that time, and that was, Chief Barry was the chief, and some of the old, I think most of the rest of the people in the committee have either passed away or moved out of town or whatever, but yeah, it would be nice to have just some kind of a, more for posterity's sake than anything else.
Yep.
absolutely.
You know, it's a big biggest project other than the school project, so I think it's something that would be good, so.
Could we do this by December 31st, so we can go into the 2017 town report?
Sure, oh, absolutely, yeah,
That'd be
absolutely.
nice.
And at this time, I also would like to really thank Deborah Egan, our town administrator, who has worked untold hours on this project as well as everything else that goes on here. I mean, the lady does an unbelievable job, and with all the issues we've had in the last year, and to put this together, and she's on the school building committee project, and I mean, I don't know how she does it. Family never sees her, which might be might be a benefit, I don't know, but I just want to make sure we recognize it. And Amy and Natalie are all the help here in the office. It's really overwhelmed with work for the most part. They've just really kept this project going. And Debbie's provided me and with a lot of expertise, especially the administrative part of it, that can get you fouled up real easy if we don't do it right. And I just want to commend her at this point. And Beck,
Thank you very much, and all of us here, we work in a team.
yeah, no, we all do.
We
but I
all
mean,
work as a team.
But there's some of us that
Thank
just kind
you.
of show up at the
Thank you.
meeting and, and some that, do an awful lot of work in between. And that goes for every project that's done, so we just want to have that recognition. And I'll mention that it's a nice selectmen's meeting too, so, just so we get the work done. So other than that, anything else anybody has? If we're gonna schedule another meeting, we probably should wait to schedule it until we get the contract signed, and if we want to do,
I would imagine the next meeting will be the pre-construction conference,
right,
and we'll need to get Castagna's schedule just to confirm that personnel are available, so
okay.
that'll be the week of, presumably it'll be the week of the 11th, when we
Alright.
sign the contract.
Probably want to do that upstairs too. It's going to be a number of.
Yeah, we'll do it, there'll be a lot of people, yeah, it'll be chilly up there, but
These are contractors. They're used to
these are outdoor guys.
You think it's chilly up there?
Another issue. Anyway, so nobody has anything else? I'll take
I
them.
just,
Yep.
this is 20 years for me trying to do this, and it's nice to see it finally happen. Been a lot of different committees that have been on over it, and a lot of different faces, and a lot of different plans, and
Yeah.
it's good to see that towards the end of my career that it actually happened.
Yeah, this project's been, I mean, this particular part of it, the latest, I mean, it's been turned down twice previously, but this has been a 5 to 6 year effort between putting together where the station was gonna go, and all the work we did preliminarily, and then the fight for the money to do the study when we originally hired Corral to give us a feasibility study, to fighting for the override and all that. It's been a long, tough haul, and a lot of people have put a lot of work and effort into it. We want to thank them and thank ourselves for, at this point, getting ready to break ground, and hopefully a year from now we'll be pretty well done. I'm sure a lot of the landscaping may have to go, but hopefully by next year at this time, the chief will be in his new building, and
We'll be lost.
you'll be ready to move
Yeah.
move up there.
What are you gonna do?
We'll have so much room we won't know what to do with ourselves.
Chief, we'll put signs up, don't worry about it.
So, okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Janet.